Welcome back to Filmworks Fantastic, and today I have a wonderful, talented person on the show, and I'm so excited to finally see her again after so many years. Now, a lot of you might not know this, but I have had the wonderful opportunity to be an intern at the BBC, and this was really because someone took a chance on me, and that was Lottie Gazzard. And she's had a prolific career working with incredible talent, both on and off camera. And Lottie has said yes to having a chat with us here on Filmworks Fantastic and sharing some of the incredible knowledge and industry experience that she's gained. From line producers to vision mixer on some of the largest corporations like the BBC, Universal Pictures, even the BAFTAs. Can you believe it? Lottie, welcome to Filmworks Fantastic.
Oh, Jacobus, it's so great to see you. We were trying to work out how long it was ago, but it's far too long ago, but you haven't changed a bit. It's so great to see you. Thanks for asking me to do this.
It's just great lighting, that's all it is. Listen, Lottie, let's just create some context as to your illustrious career. And so if humility was a weakness for you and you had to meet someone and they asked, listen, Lottie, what do you do for a living? How would you explain it?
Not even my family know what I do for a living. It's absolutely crazy. But so essentially, I was, when I was at school, I was going to be a vet. I was going to be a vet. There was no question about that. I did my 3 sciences. I was going to be a vet. And then suddenly it's like, no, I don't think I want to do this anymore. What am I going to do? And I was living in a city called Bristol in the UK, and there was an enormous BBC building there. The Natural History Unit is based at the BBC in Bristol. So it was suddenly that thing of, oh, maybe I can get a job at the BBC. You know, my dad knew people who worked there. Then it was all seemed very exciting. So I managed to get a job at the BBC in Bristol. Didn't know really anything at all about the BBC. And my first day at the BBC, we went to the bar. Obviously, that's what we used to do in the 90s. Sat next to a sound engineer and actually said, and I still can't believe I said, they were still very good friends, but I said to him, so you're a sound guy, you just put a microphone. What's creative about your job? He kind of go, oh, and he then told me. So there was a lot that I had to learn, but it was just a start in BBC in Bristol. I spent 8 years there. I then, having a music and dance background, I then moved up to London to what was then a whole department of classical music, which was amazing. It was like coming home. So I then was a production assistant, as was script supervisor in the gallery. So we were doing documentary filming, live shows, lots of performance. I mean, I was in heaven. Then I started moving up in the production management areas. So moved to production manager, still working on classical music and dance programming, and then started directing as well. So it was a great time. The BBC was a wonderful place where you were given opportunities. And if you kind of just went, I just fancy a go at that, they would let you have a go at it. I mean, it was just amazing. So started directing then, stayed then with the BBC till I think 2016. So we were still making, you know, the main thing we do is the proms, which is where you and I work together. But we were doing, you know, ballets from the Royal Opera House, operas from the Royal Opera House, Glyndebourne, Festival Hall, the Barbecue. I mean, this amazing template of shows. And then things started to just dry up, budgets were getting smaller, and there was a little, you know, voluntary redundancy coming around. And it's like, yeah, 2016, I just went, you know, it's time now to go out into the real world. So I'd had this amazing opportunity at the BBC, training, opportunities, attachments, great. Now you're on your own. And from them, actually, it's I mean, I still miss it, but it's the best thing I ever did, because then I can then establish myself. I don't think I've worked for the BBC since, actually, although I love them still. So yeah, so I've worked with BAFTA. We've got the BAFTA TV Awards this weekend. So I exec produce their truck for them. I direct with various orchestras around for live streaming. Went back to the proms. Actually, we won the tender. It went out to tender, so I went back to the proms then. And then last year did a film for Universal. And then at the end of last year, did something really crazy and started a production company. So it's that thing of, it's sort of, in my 27 years or whatever it was at the BBC, that's your grounding, and now you're out in the real world. Yeah, so I've been around.
That's so wonderful, and I really wish all the success for the new production company. It's always a big thing to start your own thing, right? But I remember we actually worked together in 2009, and so when I entered the halls of Media City where the BBC is at, and eventually at the Royal Albert Hall, where this incredible classical music is just filling every hall. I remember massive guests like Sir David Attenborough being a guest, and me, dear me, having to take him for his makeup. I felt so overwhelmed, and I felt like, wow, how is this possible that this is normal for you guys? And I think the question really pertains to when you start working with high-level international talent like this. What is the expectation from crew and production to work with this type of high-quality talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing is there's and it sort of goes back to why we took you on as one of the interns with us. There's an instinct that, you know, where people, and this sounds terribly old-fashioned and terribly stuffy, some people know how to behave. And if you can feel that someone knows how to behave, you're going to put that person with the slightly more important guest. So David Attenborough, I mean, apart from the fact that David Attenborough is the nicest man on the planet, and he's just turned 99, I think, yesterday. But genuinely lovely, and has always loved television. Used to run BBC Two channel, head of arts. You know, he is a telly man as well as a wildlife man. But I think it does come down to that. It's being sensible, being aware, not being too forward with the talent, because some of them are okay with that, but some of them really aren't. Some of them want to just stand back. So I think you also, as a person who's given that responsibility, then take on the responsibility of knowing how to behave with people. And some people want to be chatty, some people want to be left alone, and it's just you using your brain and kind of going, right, actually, I've tried to be funny and cheeky, they're not really responding to that, let me just step back a bit. Whilst always doing the basic things. Can I get you some water? Would you like coffee? Would you like something to eat? Blah, blah. So, you know, all of that, the little roster of things that you ask as a runner anyway, but then the attitude of, I'm here to look after this person, to make sure that I get them ready to go on camera. That's what you're doing. You're getting them ready, you're relaxing them, getting them ready to go on camera. So you don't want to stress them out. You want to make them feel comfortable, relax, get them anything they want within reason. But also I think it is just that thing of just you kind of going, right, okay, yeah, you don't want to chat now, so I'm just going to sit here, and when you're ready, there we go. So, and not forcing yourself on them, because I think a lot of people come into this industry in order to make a name for themselves, and they think the way of doing that is to latch on to talent. Which is the absolute opposite of what you should do, because if you're noticed, you're doing something wrong. So it's being in the background, but you know, we'll always notice you. We will always notice you if you don't overdo it. But I think that's the thing, is don't go into that thinking, oh great, I'm going to be best friends with David Attenborough.
And so what I'm hearing is basically a high EQ as well, and having the ability to read the room. And so there is a space for a bit of a jab and a bit of a lightheartedness. But if that is not the time and the place, immediately just focus on the professional job at hand. And the end goal, from what I understand, really is just to get the best out of the talent and create an environment for them to flourish. Is that correct?
And with everything in life, it's not about you. It's just that thing. You are there to do a job. You are there to be professional with these people. These people have no time. You know, they're usually not paid very much to come and work on these shows. You know, they're doing it from the goodness of their hearts. So yeah, make it a nice experience for them. You know, that's the whole thing of just make it fun for them too.
This really connects to how I thought but what would be the characteristics then? If I want to flourish and grow in this industry, yes, there are certain parts of this industry that is maybe smaller budgets, but there are other parts that are absolutely booming. How would you say, in your experience, were the characteristics of people that you saw taking it step by step and really shooting the lights out versus people that just kind of faded into the mass?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the main thing is to remember it's incredibly competitive. I mean, when I was working in the actual history, you know, every job that was advertised, there were 1,500 applications for every job. So it's that craziness of everybody wants to work in this industry because they think it's great and it's fun, and it is great and it is fun, but it isn't for everybody. And I think it's that thing of what you keep an eye out for. It is the, the talent watchers, the people that really, really want to do it. And I think it's that thing again of, you were certainly one of those where just by talking to you, you had an interest and an awareness of the overall side of things, the technical side of things, as well as the celebrity side of things. It's not celebrity. 99%, as you know, 99% of filmmaking television does not involve celebrities at all. It's hard work. And you've got to love what you do. So I think it's that thing. I had my very first exec producer, who was great, sat me down. He said, right, this is your first job in TV. He said, there's three rules. First one, never be late. Never be late. And always remember, being on time is late. So never be, always come at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes preferably before your call, because on time is late. So never be late. Always do your homework, he said to me. It's kind of like, I'd never worked, I don't know what he's talking about. Always do. So if someone asks you, if you're looking after David Attenborough, just Google David. If you don't know who he is, just Google him. And kind of go, 3 interesting facts about David Attenborough that you can then bring into the conversation when you're sat in the room with him. You didn't realize you used to do. So just do a little bit of homework on whatever your job is, how to make a really good cup of tea. Learn how to make a really good cup of tea. And if someone asks you for a mint tea, learn that you don't put milk in it. It's those little things that will be noticed. And the third thing he said is the most important thing. He said, never forget, we don't make baked beans. And I kind of went, okay. I get it. Yeah, we make telly. And it's that thing of know about telly, be interested in telly. How does it work? And not just come along for the ride and go, yeah, this is great. Yeah, I'm working for the BBC. It's great. Just really, really be interested in it, because we like people who like to know what we do. And I'll just give you a great example. So, I mean, lots of people, because one of my floor managers, Leo, is great. And he gives all of our interns, he gives them a little treasure hunt. And he says, right, I need you to go and find out what a wardrobe assistant does. I need you to go and find out this. And he gives them a little list and he sends them off during the day around their other work. And they have to report to him back at the end of the day and tell him what they've learned. I mean, isn't that brilliant?
That is brilliant.
And the difference between someone who does that, because some of them are very shy, they've never worked before, probably, some of them are very shy. And by the end of that day, they've developed as a person as well as learning something about the industry. And we did have one girl who's very, very sweet, but quite useless. And she did go around and talk. She did go around and talk to everybody. But she came back at the end of the day, she said, well, I basically went around and asked everyone how much they earned. Right. And I don't know how many people told her the truth, but she came back at the end of the day. She said, oh, Lottie, I've decided I'm going to be an executive producer because they seem to earn more. It's like, bless you. That's really sweet. Bye-bye. And she's probably incredibly successful now, but it was just that thing of it's just not your industry. You don't care about anything other than how much money you're going to earn and which celebrities you're going to talk to. So it's that. I think if you're going to work in a car parts factory, you'd learn about cars, you'd know about cars. Telly's exactly the same. Know what a camera is, know what a lens is. You don't need to be an expert in it, but just be interested and ask questions. People love it at the right time. I mean, again, it's like you say, it's the EQ. It's that thing of kind of not constantly asking questions when people are really busy, but if there's a moment, and just say, have you got 10 minutes for a chat? Because we'll always make time. And I think it's that thing of, we love nothing more than telling people about what we do.
Lottie, it was quite interesting for me, when I was working with the various departments in the crew, even when I was standing in the queue getting food, and the production manager turned to me and asked me what I do, and I said, I'm just a runner. And she literally looked me in the eyes and said, you are not just a runner, you are a runner. We need you. You are very important to us. It was such a delightful, but yet very intense moment. But apart from that, I think what came out of that message to me was how important every one of those crew members are. How do you, as a line producer, get the best from the crew members? We touched on the talent, but the talent is nothing without the rest of the team, right? It's a team effort.
Yeah, exactly. The talent comes in right at the last minute, is the cherry on the icing on the cake. Yeah, so crew, again, the thing I learned very early on. So my first big show was a big OB, lots of crew. I had no idea what was going on, But it's that thing of what I observed from my first production manager. Again, my first production manager, was still very good friends. She taught me that the work comes first, but the social side of it and the friend side of it and the family, it's like a family. And it's sort of that just stayed with me, that these people come together. So, you know, we work in the office, the production team work in the office. We may be working, you know, planning this thing for 3 months, right? So we've been working together. The office team is really tight. Then you go out on location and suddenly you've got a crew of 65 who, you know, yesterday they were doing football, tomorrow they're going off and doing horse racing, today they're doing this. And just that thing of, you know, we all the information goes out, the call sheet goes out, you kind of go, that is only the start of it. That's not, it's just this whole principle of someone asks you a question and there's so many people go, oh, it's on the call sheet. Yes, but they haven't had time to read the call sheet, and actually they're just asking you because they know that you know. So it's that thing of always just being nice if people ask you things, right? But the crew are everything. And I think it's interesting, you know, that comment really stuck with you. You're not just a runner. You're not just runners aren't just a runner. You know, they're not. No one is any more important than anyone else, I think. And I think that's a big thing, has always been a big thing for me. And lots of people don't feel like that. There's often quite a big split between the creative and the technical and the administrative. And it's, you know, the creatives are somehow special and creative. Oh, darling, I have to have a lie down because I've been creative all morning. And everyone else will just pander to them and it's no, every single person on that crew is as important as everyone else. And I think if you maintain that as a principle, everyone is there to do so. It's like ants, you know, everyone has their little job, or worker bees. The worker bees do this and the queen sits in there, but without the worker bees there's no honey. So it's that thing of everyone is vital to that. It is the best teamwork and the joy of having a team. So again, it's that thing of, it's not about individuals, it's never about you, it's never about you. It's what can I do to make this work better. Most crew are lovely because if you don't, you know this, your guys are you know, an incredibly tight crew. They like doing what they do. Everyone likes it. Enjoy it. We're so lucky to do what we do. And I remember I was having a bad day, and my exec was having a bad day, and we were sharing a little porter cabin on site at the time, and I was going, and he was, I'm helping. And then he turned and said, yeah, but what else would you rather be doing? And it's like, damn you. And it is just that moment. You just forget how lucky we are to do what we do. And there always will be difficult people with problems, and people who find it more difficult than others to fit into that family network. So it's that whole thing again of just making everyone, you know, it's like putting your arms around everybody. Walking, as you walk around, say hello to everyone. How are you? You all right? What are you doing? How are you doing? But just that thing, contact, communication, eye line, look at people, and just making everyone feel as welcome as everyone else. And if there is a problem, don't ignore it. Don't belittle people. Don't make people feel stupid. If you spot something, you know, just take them aside and just go, everything all right? Because quite a lot of the time, it's not about the job they're doing. It's something in their private life, or it's they've misunderstood, somebody said something and they've taken it the wrong way. But especially if you're on a live show, if you've got a little bit of dissent in the crew, you know, you as a director, you're totally reliant on your cameras to offer you the shots that you want. If you've made one of them hate you, suddenly they'll go out of focus. You know, I mean, it is just, I've seen it happen. You go, wow, that's a bit unprofessional, but it's just that thing. If they have the power, so I think again, it's understanding the power balance of, like, you know, the crew are the ones that actually make your program for you. So, you know, it is family. I know it's such a cliche, but you know, it is a family, and you come together for one day and then you go away. And you might never see them again, but it's that thing, on that day, you are the best of friends and family, and you love and care about each other.
The opposite is also true. So what are the aspects of crew members that would make you reluctant to rebook them? Let's say, for instance, I'm in that position where all of a sudden I realize I've been working on various productions, but my phone started Not calling as many times as I wished. Before we started, we quickly touched also on the industry as a whole that is struggling. But maybe let's talk about what can I do? What are the aspects that I might need to, the red flags that I need to look after to make sure that the phone keeps calling, one, and how to stay relevant in an industry that's currently quite tumultuous.
Gosh, it's so difficult, Jacobus, because a lot of it, it's probably a three-part answer, because I think the industry as a whole, certainly in the UK and the US, is in a bit of a state of panic at the moment. Budgets are getting tighter, commissions are getting later and lesser, which means, you've got, and you have more potential employees now. So there's more people chasing less work with lower budgets. It's absolute disaster. But some people have not had a problem, and some people have worked all the way through, and some people haven't. And I think that there's an attitude, certainly, of it's very, very difficult, because you do expect everyone to turn up and be jolly and great and on it. And sometimes you're having a bad day, and you are people who are paranoid they're not going to get rebooked. So it's then that you don't want to force it. So it's creating that safe space where people, if they're not having a great day, you still kind of go, it's all right, I love you, you're great at your job. If people are good at their jobs, they will get rehired. Sometimes the phone doesn't ring just because the work isn't there. But I think it's that thing, be good at what you do, be nice. If you've got a problem, talk to someone. Just talk to someone. Don't go off in a huff. Don't create problems. Don't shout at other people. If you do accidentally shout at someone, just apologize. Don't leave it hanging. Again, it's family. So I think the main thing is be really, really good at what you do, right? And sometimes, as a freelancer, the phone doesn't ring. And it's also getting to that point where it's not because you're not good. It's so difficult. The rejection is appallingly difficult to deal with, and not having work is incredibly difficult to deal with. So I think the thing for me, I'm touching wood now, I've been quite lucky. Even through COVID, we were working, but it was that whole thing of that if there's a period of 2 weeks where I've got no work, keep busy, find something to do something. Ringing people is, I know it's terribly difficult, but just ringing people and reminding people that you're there doesn't hurt. Updating your CV, keep your LinkedIn page up to date, make sure that everyone knows that you're available for work. And it does go in cycles where you'll have a team that works together and you do the same show and you kind of go, oh, I love the way that worked. Let's do the same team, which is great. But again, as a producer, every so often you don't change the whole team, but you just try and feed in and make sure that the work's being shared around. But I think the other really key thing, and I think we just should touch on how things have changed in what we do and the industry that we work in. When I first started, you had a director, a vision mixer, a script, the individual, everybody did one job, and they did it brilliantly, and that was their job, and they didn't divert outside that. Now nobody does one job. If you want to be regularly employed, you've got to diversify a little bit. And it started, with for PSC, I always had a 3-man crew. I had a cameraman, a soundman, and a camera assistant. No question. That doesn't happen anymore. Absolutely. And it started because, again, for me, they're different arts. A cameraman and a soundman are totally different things. And that had to change overnight with cameras doing sounds doing cameras. You just had to suck it up. And what's happened is the purists who've kind of gone, no, darling, I'm this. I won't do anything else other than that. They're the people who haven't been working. And it's really tough and really hard. But it's just that thing of you've got to diversify. If you shoot, you've got to edit. So I think it's that thing. And there's nothing we can do about that. I bemoan those days. I mean, it is just the money that was available in the olden days, and the talent that you had and the talent that we've lost. But things have changed, and you can't fight it. And that's the way. That's the main thing. Is just be good at what you do. Try and do more than one thing. And be someone that people want to work with. You know, you don't have to be a sycophant, but it's just that thing of just be nice.
Mm. Interesting question, but where is the money at the moment in the media industry?
The money at the moment is in returning series. So the box sets. So it's extraordinary. I mean, obviously, sport is a big thing. So there is money in sport. So if you're interested in sport, trying to get into sport, that's a good area. That's still growing. Drama, the most expensive genre there is. It's ridiculous, the amount of drama that's being made, but people love the box sets. And we had a pitch to Netflix and Apple at the beginning of the year. And I can't tell you too much about it, but we're working with an absolute legend, right? And they kind of went, well, yeah, I mean, but it's a one-off documentary. We only want returning series. They only want returning series, and you kind of go, okay, but I don't know when you've got time to sit down and watch the 50,000 box sets that are available. So it's a very, very different, and this is why we kind of, the craziness, we started this production company at the end of last year, which will not be returning series. It's documentary, it's live event, it's comedy based, it's all these things that nobody seems to want. And you kind of go, but the tide has to turn, because it can't just be yet another crime drama, yet another costume drama. You just like, please. So certainly in Tellyland, I mean, what I still call Tellyland, yeah, that's where the money is at the moment. But the other interesting market is cinema.
Really?
So yeah, because cinema have realized that people will go to the cinema and watch a 3-hour documentary now. So, the documentary about Senna came out, the Amy Winehouse came out, and suddenly people go, yeah, I'll go and watch that in the cinema. Wow, this is absolutely amazing. And they're not, I mean, when did I do a show? 2 years ago, I did a show, 1,500 cinemas internationally. We sold that. Yeah. Global. Wow. And it's really, really simple. And they don't all even want 4K. Some of them will just take HD and stereo. It's like, what the fuck? So it's a really, really interesting new market. So look at the potential of cinema. And again, it sort of has to be cinematic, but it's that thing of, yeah, people will pay money to go, and because that's what we started doing with the Royal Opera House, where people can't afford, if they don't live in London, they can't go to the Royal Opera House and pay £150 for a ticket to go and see a ballet. They'll pay 25 quid to go and watch it in their cinema, because you're seeing close-ups and you're seeing detail, and it's just a completely different experience. So it's like, oh, actually that also now works for what we would call telly. So there's but also I think the biggest lesson, and this is what we're trying to do with our production company, is own the rights yourself. So if you can and it's so difficult because funding is so difficult to get, but it's that thing of, if you can afford to make it yourself, you retain all the rights and you then sell it, that's how you're going to make money out of it. So it's an absolute sea change in how we make stuff.
That is fascinating.
It's really interesting, but I think also it's that it's like what you do, having really high quality standards, production standards, because again, everyone wants their stuff to look great with no money, and it's like, yeah, you know how to do that, you know how to make things look good, you personally know how to make things look good, your stuff is amazing. So it's, I think, create the best you possibly can. Don't do it on the cheap. Don't hire people who say they can do it for less. It won't be good. We always used to say there's an eternal triangle. If you can have it quick, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good, but you can only have two of those things.
Yes.
Right? And now, of course, everyone wants all three, but it's like, no, really, seriously, you probably still can only have two of those things.
Yeah, exactly. I want to bring this to a loop, back to the career. We started with you sharing it, but I think there's certain aspects of a line producer, specifically characteristics and hard work, that defines this role and is quite necessary. So if someone recognizes that they have this capacity and ability to segue into line producing, what should I look for? What characteristics and talents should I have to be able to be a successful line producer?
Wowza. Okay, firstly, I want to say, please, 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 everyone who's listening to this, think about going into production management. Please, please, we have an absolute gap in the market for good production management teams, because everyone wants to be a director and everyone wants to be there, because everyone sort of looks at the production management side as the boring bit, and it really isn't. Because again, it's like without the production management, it just doesn't happen. And I found quite early on when I went freelance that I would go into a lot of companies, and again, it's a way of saving money. They kind of go, oh, we don't need a production manager, we don't need that, we don't know. And I'd be called in at the last minute because they'd be going, oh, we don't know what to do, and it's no, and you'd have to go in and sort of sort out the plate of spaghetti that they'd got themselves into, because they didn't think about that, and they didn't think about that, and they didn't think about that. So for me, line producer, production manager, whatever you want to call it, you've got to be organized. You've got to love a spreadsheet. We all have a spreadsheet. Financial awareness is good, because you will be doing the budgets as well. So you've got to learn to love those bits and stick with it. I mean, I'm a bit of a freak because I do direct as well. But again, that's another string to my bow, which means I work. But it's that thing of if I'm working as a line producer, I'm only working as a line producer. I'm not getting involved in the script. I'm not getting involved in the editorial. I am there to do that. And all of that foundation work of making sure that everything's set up, everything's compliant, everything's safe, everything's organized, everyone knows what's going on, all the contracts are sorted, all the rights are sorted, and all of that side of it that the creatives don't need to even be thinking about. So what you're doing, you are enabling them to do their best job, because they shouldn't be worrying about whether the rights are cleared for the thing that they're doing. So it's an integral part of production. And yes, it's a lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of organizing, and it's a lot of sometimes taking the pain away from the creatives. So it's that thing of, I always say to them, just use me, blame me. If there's something boring about insurance, just say, oh my God, the insurance, my line producer will talk to you about that. Because without that, they don't get the film, but they don't want to, they want to keep their powder dry. So again, it's that thing of what you're doing, you're sucking up a little bit of the stuff to keep their powder dry. But my God, they're grateful in the end, because without that, the film doesn't happen. So it is a wonderful, fascinating, multi-layered, really, really important career, production management. And even just crazy things like the call sheet. If you go to a shoot and you haven't got a call sheet, nobody knows what's going on. And yeah, most of the time people don't read it. But it's that thing of, without that, nothing happens. Nothing happens. What time are the security guards called? I don't know. It's just, so you are the linchpin. You are the absolute linchpin that everyone comes to you to ask you stuff. How fabulous is that? So I think it is, a sense, again, it comes down to sensible calm, not getting flustered, not worrying that you're not involved in the creative, because you are sort of involved. I don't believe in these silos. Everyone who works in telly is creative. Everyone. You can be a creative with a spreadsheet. You can be creative. You said it'd be creative with a budget. So again, it's that thing of, the knowledge that you need and the understanding that you need in order to just create a budget. It's just wonderful to know that and sit down and go, right, I'm just doing a shopping list. So I think it's that thing for anyone who wants to get into that side of it. Please, please, please do, firstly. But also, yeah, just love it. Again, we go back to love what you do. It's all so important. It's no different.
Lottie, working with these large brands like Universal, BAFTA, BBC, it's strong pillars that we all know, and now you're also starting your own thing. Surely there must be a very different mindset in these large conglomerates versus the up-and-comings, the growing businesses. How would you compare this, and what are the lessons that we can learn from the large companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I think is there isn't really that much difference. There's just more people involved, and in some ways the smaller things are more interesting because you get to do more of it. So all you're doing is scaling it up. So working for Universal, yeah, I'm just doing that. I'm just doing that because there's a team like that doing all the other stuff that I would normally do if it was one of my own shows and I had 2 people working on it. So again, I think it's that thing. It's appreciating how lucky you are, but not worrying that, oh my God, this huge thing, because they're just people too. And they're doing the same thing. And I think that's the thing, you know, because as a freelancer, I go out to so many different places, which are so different and so, you know, scale-wise, absolutely all over the place with numbers of people. The principles are still exactly the same. You've got someone standing in front of a camera with some pictures being recorded and some sound being recorded, and there's light and there's everything that you do is exactly the same. It's just how big a scale it is. The people that work in these places, the bigger places, they just tend to be busier. So you get less attention. So you get less advice on what's needed. So you have to know your job better. I think that's the main difference, because you are a tiny, tiny, tiny cog in a huge wheel, and they haven't got time for you to go, actually, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. So I think that's the main difference, is just in order to scale up, you've really got to know what you're doing. And don't, such an old cliche, isn't it? Don't run before you can walk. Learn your craft. Don't expect to walk in on day one and go and work on a massive film. And don't worry about that. You know, take time to learn your craft. Take time to get good. And then you kind of go, yeah, actually, you know, I'm all right now. I can do this stuff. And then you go into this place, you go, oh my God, this is so intimidating because there's hundreds of people here and it's just crazy. And you kind of go, oh no, actually, it's exactly the same. I'm still doing that. And I'm still doing that. And I need to do that. So I think it's that thing of, you know, if you are in a small environment and you're your own boss, great, you can sort of do whatever you want. So I think, again, it's the politeness, it's the professional attitude just scales up. And that's what it is. But I think that's, yeah, just remember, it's all the same stuff, really. It's just bigger and more money. And actually, I always say more money actually is less interesting. Someone goes, here's the money. What do you want about? I want to make this. Here's the money. Going, oh, really? Okay, what am I going? I've got to spend all of that. What? So actually, and again, it's the fun. Never forget, what we do is fun. It's fun. And if you're not enjoying it, you may not be the right person for it. It's just that whole thing of even tidying up the cables at the end of the day. It's fun because you kind of remember, and you go putting things neatly in a box so that next time you go to it, it's all neatly packed up and you don't have to untie. You know, it's just that whole thing of, it's just everything we do is great and fun.
Lottie, I think what is so delightful from this conversation is learning how, after all these years, you have never lost the flame, never lost the passion for what you do, and even though sometimes you have to remind yourself that you love what you do, it is, as you say, fun. And I think this passion and what you do and this wisdom that you shared will definitely resonate with so many creators that are in some sort of journey, that are either already in a high performance professional engagement or growing into that. And I really want to thank you for spending that time with me just to unpack this and understand that we are really in a wonderful position to be creators, to tell stories and do things even though it is hard. And if it was easy, then we wouldn't have developed as people, and that we wouldn't have, life would have just been boring. So thank you so much. I dearly appreciate it. And I look forward to just seeing how you even grow further in this wild industry that we call media.
Jacobus, thank you so much. I mean, it's been great to see you again. You haven't changed a bit, and I'm just so proud of you, because you know you always were going to get somewhere. I knew you were going to get somewhere, and look at you. What you're doing now is just amazing. And I think it is just that thing of there's always something you can learn. There's always something you haven't done. You know, it's a joy every day to just do something different. And you know, you've done so well. And just say, if any, you know, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. If anyone needs any advice, you know, we're always there. You know, that's the thing. We're wherever we are in the world, we're a community. You know, so if anyone needs any advice, just find me on LinkedIn, and you know, we'll do our best to answer any questions that you've got.
Thank you so much, Lottie.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jacobus.